Welcome back. Today, we are diving straight into one of the most incredibly dense, hallucinatory, and high-octane narratives of captivity and rescue we've ever unpacked in an explainer. The Black Pyramid Rescue doesn't just, walk you into a story. No, it drags you, literally kicking and screaming, into a surreal, waking nightmare. We're talking a massive blend of psychological horror and explosive sci-fi action. We're going to follow the truly harrowing journey of a captive named Tovo, explore the bizarre facility holding him, and dissect the unbelievably brutal rescue mission launched just to save him. So buckle up because this narrative wastes absolutely zero time getting intense.
To really understand Toivo's situation, we have to look at the very first thing he hears. He doesn't just wake up in some normal hospital bed. He wakes up bound in a straitjacket, trapped in a padded room that is literally swarming with cockroaches. And as the lights flicker, he hears this terrifying, cackling voice inside his own head mixed with this awful roach-like chirping. Imagine that sensory overload. He looks through an armored door and sees this massive hooded figure. But inside the hood, it's not a face. It's just roach faces. Slimy cockroaches are crawling up his legs, inside his shirt. And then he hears that ominous command. Black angels, fetch the patient for the acid bath. It just instantly establishes this profound, suffocating sense of dread.
All right, let's break this down into phases. Part 1, Captive in the Black Pyramid. Let's look at what Toivo goes through.
Right away, Toivo endures this terrifying, rapid-fire sequence of medical procedures. The door to his cell opens and two men in black tuxedos, with pitch-black eyes, by the way, step in and just immediately shoot him in the chest with a stun gun. From there, Toivo's drifting in this chaotic, half-dream state. He keeps waking up to surgeons operating on his head, shoving tubes down his lungs. At one point, he fights back, gagging and spitting on a doctor's face mask. But the response? Chilling. A hissing surgeon waves a scalpel right in front of his nose and threatens, "Just a little pressure with this, and I can end your days." He taps Toivo's forehead with a little metal hammer, sending him right back into the darkness. And all of this is leading up to the most sinister procedure of all, installing a microchip directly into his brain.
But here's the thing. Toivo isn't just some random prisoner. He is subject number one. He wakes up tied to a chair, his one healthy eye totally blinded by these incredibly bright lights, and he's surrounded by mirrors hiding watching researchers. Then, a deep voice booms from a ceiling microphone, gleefully announcing that they, the Black Ones, have installed this microchip. But the really crucial detail? He's told he is the singular, unique, perfect fit test subject for this dark occult technology. This singles him out entirely. It gives a twisted meaning to his suffering and, honestly, explains why such massive, bizarre forces are about to mobilize, both to keep him and to get him back.
So where is all this happening? Well, that booming voice welcomes him to Vladivostok, but it's actually through a buzzing vision in Toivo's own head that his true location is revealed. He sees that the building holding him isn't a standard lab, it is a massive black pyramid. This structure is the literal and figurative dark heart of the whole narrative. It totally blends ancient, dark geometry with terrifying futuristic biotechnology. It really shows us that his captors haven't just mastered cutting-edge science, they've mastered black magic too.
That brings us to Part 2. Angel Face's brutal assault. The cavalry has finally arrived.
The sheer, utter madness of this battlefield is defined by the bizarre contrast between the two opposing sides. On one hand, defending the Black Pyramid, you have a literal nightmarish, demonic army. We're talking drooling black velociraptors erupting from the ground with robed riders, hairy, red pulsating demons charging out of the forest, and deadly black angels. But facing them, the rescue team is a heavily armed modern military cavalry. You've got white Humvees, rapid-fire weapons, a squad led by a character named John, and spearheaded by a fierce warrior known as Angel Face, who, we quickly learn, is actually Toivo's mother. It's a complete clash of genres, occult monstrosities going head-to-head against militarized sci-fi hardware.
And let me tell you, the battle in that courtyard is nothing short of a total bloodbath. Angel Face leads the charge, and she pulls this weapon from her back that totally defies normal description. It's a curved, symbol-covered sword that also fires like a rifle. The white Humvees unleash an absolute barrage of rapid-fire weapons, literally shredding these hairy, pulsating demons into a bloody pulp. Angel Face herself is just a force of nature here. She's swinging her sword, splitting a velociraptor's head clean in half, decapitating a black angel. It's chaotic, it's visceral, and it profoundly illustrates the extreme, violent lengths a mother will go to in order to save her son.
The escalation during this courtyard battle is wild. It happens in mere seconds.
A black angel throws this fan-like explosive directly at Angelface. She manages to destroy it with an electric bolt, but this black acid splashes onto her arm and it immediately starts melting her flesh. Her reaction is incredibly fast and just utterly ruthless. To save herself, she slices her own arm off. Boom. Gone. Next, she cauterizes the stump with a blue flame from her weapon. And then, screaming in absolute agony, she hits a button on her shoulder labeled 12 Disciples. This is the climax of the assault. She literally calls in a devastating orbital laser strike from space that beams down and just obliterates the remaining hairy creatures. It's an absolutely staggering display of sacrifice and overwhelming firepower.
Which leads us to Part 3, the blood-soaked rescue. It's time to breach the pyramid.
Now, the mechanics of navigating this facility are completely macabre. I mean, they don't just pick locks or hack keypads. Oh no. To get through the main pyramid doors, which, by the way, retract open like a toothy mouth, they literally have to use the severed head of a black angel on the scanner. Once inside, John is forced to use a flamethrower to roast these possessed, slithering medical staff. And to actually find Toivo, John has to read a map that is literally made of skin, pinned to the wall, just to locate the facility's black heart. Finally, as John takes the elevator down, leaving the rest of the squad to tend to Angelface, he has to use the blood from a severed arm to bypass an occult security lock. It's this dark, twisted, terrifying inversion of your standard action movie infiltration.
Meanwhile, down in the Black Heart, the chaos outside totally fades away, leaving this sudden, suffocating isolation. Tivo's spiritual vision abruptly ends, and he snaps back into his physical body to the sound of a blaring red general alarm. The medical staff in his mirror-lined room suddenly start twitching violently, and then the horror peaks. The room starts rapidly filling with red blood. It's pouring uncontrollably from holes in the walls. Within moments, the blood is up to Tivo's knees. It's a quiet, claustrophobic, drowning nightmare that serves as the absolute perfect climax to his terrifying captivity.
Just as that blood rises and Toivo's consciousness begins to fade, salvation finally arrives with a massive echoing bang. John reaches the cell and blasts the mirror room's door completely open. The visual here is just striking. The shattered glass of the mirrors explodes outward, the huge volume of accumulated blood gushes out of the room like a tidal wave, and the very last thing Toivo sees before passing out is the horrifying sight of those burned, possessed doctors howling in absolute agony. The rescue is violent, it is messy, and it is incredibly definitive.
But after all that chaos, after all the blood and the noise, we get this incredibly quiet, truly poignant moment. Tivo finally wakes up. He's bouncing along in a white Humvee, miles away from the Black Pyramid, just resting in Angelface's lap. Seeing her horrific injuries, he looks up and asks, "Mother, are you wounded?" And she simply whispers, "Shh, my son." Even through her excruciating pain, despite literally missing an arm, she gives him an angel smile and injects medicine into his neck to help him finally sleep peacefully. It's such a powerful, emotional anchor after all the relentless, surreal horror we just witnessed.
As we wrap up this explainer, we really have to step back and ponder the sheer scale of the narrative we just unpacked. It leaves us with a deeply provocative question. What truly separates madness from reality when the nightmare actually bleeds into the waking world? This source material blurs the lines between psychological torture, occult magic, and futuristic warfare so seamlessly that it forces us to question absolutely every boundary. Thank you so much for joining me in breaking down the wild, surreal divide between Toivo's dark captivity and his explosive rescue. Keep exploring, keep analyzing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.